Only. Let's see.
Yeah, I've been deleting them, but they always kick off my recorder. Hi, St. Pete. Okay, this is the team that's going to be with you today. I'm Ryan, State Director. You'll probably be seeing a lot of me, especially dealing with the program. You can hit me up for any questions. We also have Katie, who is our VP of Literacy and Education. And then we have Rania, who is our senior accountant. And then we have Chelsea Combs following up with the advocacy section. She's our VP of Advocacy and Community Engagement. Hopefully, you've seen at least one of us more than once being in the movement. But welcome today. Really quick, a brief history about Y Reads. As Doreen stated earlier, Y Reads has been around since 2005. And as I stated a second ago, we just not too long ago celebrated our 20-year anniversary. Woohoo! Shout out to us. We get most of our funding from the DOE, and we currently have about 29 programs across the state of Florida in 11 counties. Some are funded from us, some are funded through other means. Um, but this is a big movement. We're pretty much spread out. There are some areas we're not in, but we're working on that. We're working on pushing out and spreading literacy across the state. Couple program basics. If you don't really know about the program, some of you are new to it. YReads is essentially an after-school program that provides literacy intervention and mentorship to children, K through fifth grade in some cases. And it's historically a volunteer-based program. Generally, there's a coordinator, maybe a couple staff members, but it's a volunteer-based program. It's free. We do not charge for this program. Students get this, and the schools get this. The schools don't have to pay for this program either. Students are referred by the school. That's how we make sure we get the kids that really need the program. And then generally, it's a Monday through Thursday program with rotations in small group, about 3-to-1 ratio for the kiddos. And yeah, that's the general synopsis of the program. Current partnerships, as I said, we're not everywhere, but we're getting there. This is where we are right now. The areas in like the light bluish color, those are the current Y Reads areas. And as you can see, the other side is, although there are Y partners, they are not part of the Y Reads family yet. We're working on it. We're working on it. Spread the word. And then a little bit about the roles. So there are a lot of partnerships in this game called Y Reads. One is the partnership that we have with the Ys. You guys are the reason why we're able to connect with the schools. You guys build those partnerships, lay that groundwork with the schools, so we're able to get in there. Um, and then we have the partnerships that we have with the coordinators, the staff, and everyone. And then there's partnership with us, and there's also the partnership with the families and students. But about the roles, pretty much the alliance handles kind of most of the technical back of the house stuff about the program, all the grant standards. It is our program. It's one that we funded, or excuse me, one that we started back in 2005. But we handle consulting, funding, any of those questions. Y usually handles HR, hiring the staff. Oh, we've got some noise coming from somewhere.
I got
All
it.
right, thanks. Um, Training, grant reporting. So coordinators, you don't have to worry about doing any financial reporting. Everybody handles the advocacy on each level. The Y also handles the agreements, the collaborative agreements, and everything that gets signed. For the most part, the Ys go and again get those partnerships with the schools and get those agreements signed. Coordinators, they handle obviously all the boots on the ground stuff, which is awesome. Shout out to you guys. We commend you for all the things that you do. But they handled the lesson planning, working with the kids, and directly working with the families and the school as well. Any questions about these? Let us know. We can go into more detail, but this is the general synopsis of the roles. Okay, looking into ensuring compliance, excellence, and continued funding. I will say with great excitement that we have had increased funding this year. um, and increased support thanks to all of the hard work that everyone has done over the years. Um, we really focused on program quality, especially since last year we did end up losing some funding. For those of you who don't know, the DOE chopped a good amount of our funding last year. Not due to any negative things that you guys might have done. It's just the way of the world sometimes. But they did grant us more than we normally get this year. So we're super excited to share that out with you guys and continue to grow Y Reads and make it stronger. And increase the program's existence across the state. The importance of meeting the grant deliverables will continue. It's something that, again, allows us to maintain that funding and that support that we get. The fact that we're able to say that we can do a thing and we actually have proof. We are a very data-driven program. Speaks a lot to what you guys do and to how this program runs. We do have some new compliance measures that have come down the line. All of you will have access to that. For those of you who don't already have access to the coordinator drive that houses all of our Y Reads things for you guys to view, you guys can get access to it. Just let me know and I'll get it sent over to you. But most of the coordinators will already have it. But we do have a new compliance document in in-house. I'm not going to go over the whole thing, but I just want to let you know it does exist now. It's pretty much a formal process of um, the compliance structure. We've always kind of had a compliance and expectations not document, but process. But we formalized it this year, got it on paper. That way it's easier for you guys to understand outside of the little blurb that's kind of like in the MOUs. So don't try to read this now. It's kind of small, but this is available to you. We'll make sure you guys can see this and get a copy of it. Oh, hold on.
Ryan, will that be on the drive, you said?
Yes, that will be on the
Okay.
drive. Hold on, I lost my slide. There it is. So yes, that will be in the coordinator drive. Everybody will have access to that. It's currently there now, actually. Okay. Couple updates to the MOUs. I've probably already spoke to at least most of you on some of these changes, but one change that we added was the advocacy change, the component of getting those tasks done throughout the school year. And we also added the communication component. Most of you guys are pretty great about communicating, but like a change in staff, kind of getting that information pretty quickly, at least within the week if possible, when we have changes in staff that affect the program. Also, the increased funding will lead to increased enrollment for some, which is super exciting. I know a lot of schools and programs have been asking for us to increase the number of kids that we serve. So we're happy to say that we are doing that this year, bringing those numbers back up. And then again, I brought up those compliance procedures, a couple quarterly check-ins that we've started doing. We brought those back, the quarterly check-ins with the supervisors. We also updated some of those monthly deliverables as well. We'll get into more details about those as we get later into the training, and I'll also do an additional training with the staff so they have more information on that as well. Another thing. Wait, let me make sure I got all of these. Oh, also, if the program is not running by November 1st, then the funds will be allocated to a program that is running. We kind of like to try to get the numbers for those students in as soon as possible. And the later the student starts, the harder it is for us to get that data that we need to support the program's measures or deliverables. So I think that was the only added thing. Okay. Couple key measures of compliance. Student served is always a top thing that we look out for. Hours, the student and mentor ratio, because the program is listed as a small group program. Monthly deliverables, that's the things that the coordinators will be turning in, as well as the financial deliverables that the Ys and the supervisors will be turning in. Program progress, monthly professional development from the coordinators, family engagement nights, mentor trainings, background screenings, because again, this is a volunteer-based program. We are looking at recruitment and mentor training as well as one of our measurables. Those three advocacy tasks that I mentioned, and then also we have an additional few days of auditing that we'll be doing as well. Normally we do about 2 a year, but we're going to increase that just to make sure that we can better align all of the data and make sure everything is how it's supposed to be as we report things to the DOE. All right. I think that was my quick spiel about Y Reads. If you have any questions about any of the basic stuff, please feel free to hang out later. I will be going fully into Y Reads and telling more about the program after our ladies cover finance and advocacy. If Ryan would like to pop up, you are our next speaker.
Yes, hi guys. How are you? My name is Ronnie. I worked with most of you. I'm looking at the names. If not, shoot me an email. There is another training that we're gonna do for associations before Q1. If you want to attend it, we'll go through the forms and everything in more depth. I'll go over a few slides, the deliverable due dates and the quarter end communications, the forms, and the unallowable expenses, which we did not discuss in the past over on this kickoff, but we'll go through some of the items, and the submission and payment notification.
Just let me know when to click over and I can do that for you.
Go ahead. Yeah. Yes, Ryan, please. Thank you. So we have quarterly reports, 4 of them every fiscal year. The first one is due on October the 15th. Second would be January the 15th, April 15th, and July 15th. And they cover July through September, October through December, January through March, and April through June. The contacts that, just in case if there is any late submission, which we haven't had any, which is great, you would have to contact Katie, Ryan, and myself. And if you have any question throughout or after or before, you could always email me. Go ahead, Ryan. So we have a new process on how, like, you'd use the share file folder that we submit the quarterly report to, the backup and such. So now we are going through a new process with our IT department at Central Florida Y. So I'd like, if you could please, that each association by quarter end, no later than the 30th, we'd like to get an email, myself, Katie, and Ryan, of any contacts that's going to be new. Every contact that's going to come new to our Y-Read, we'll have to set them up. And on this slide, you will see the process. I'll have to contact my IT department, send you an invitation. You'll have to accept the invitation link in order for you to have access to the share folder to upload the reports and the backup. And then by the 15th, we will have all the forms, quarterly reports, and the forms have to be uploaded into the share file folder, which you would, before the 15th, you will receive a link after I get you set up, and you'll be able to have everything uploaded in there. And then the review time comes between the 16th and the 25th. We have to have a little bit of 5 days internally to finalize all the association before we report to DOE. So between the 16th and the 25th, I might email you guys back while the review is happening. More question, more backup. We will be really, really concerned with any delay in the response of any request, follow-up request. So there would be 24 hours. If any item is not responded to within those 24 hours, we'll have to eliminate from your submittal, and we'll have to reconcile again and send you what would be accepted and turn into DOE. So please be attentive to those emails with the follow-up requests. Okay, Ryan. You're right, thank you. So up to 25, 26, you required you guys to turn in 3 things, the 300, the 301, and the financial reports. We are not requiring you to do the financial report Excel anymore. If you want to have one for your internal tracking, that's okay, but you don't have to turn it in. That folder is going to go away. But we do have 300 form and backup, which the 300 will be like the staff salaries and the FICA. The 301 will be the benefits, contract services, program supplies, and such. And we'll go in the next few slides in details. Yes. Thank you. So the formatting of submitting everything, we need 2 ways of submitting things. The Excel files, which sometimes I don't receive, so please send me those Excel files of the form 300 and 301, because I'd like to look at the functions that's set in there, make sure everything is flowing correctly. And a PDF for each site that you guys have. So if you have 2 sites, we want the PDF for each of those forms in the subfolders of the 300 and 301, one PDF that contains first page, the Excel form, which it would be, you turn it into a PDF, so it would be the form of 300, and the backup, all the backup that goes with it. One PDF file, please, so we could review it. We want to aim into DOE looking at each PDF and each site for no more than 10 minutes and be able to review it. So we can't just have multiple PDF for one pay stub each. So it has to be more organized. So if you could help me do that, that would be great. Thank you, Ryan. I try to make notation in every field in the 300 and 301 form to help you guys out. So we'll start with the 300 for the salary and FICA. We'll start with field number A. That would be the YMCA dash the site name that you're reporting on. Number B to your right, or to my right, is the reimbursement number, and that is your quarter number 1, 2, 3, and 4. C through F, those I will provide for you guys. There's sometimes some confusion on what contract. Now we're going to have 2 contracts. Associations will have different numbers, different contract number. So whatever the association award would be under, whichever contract that would be, you would receive those forms at the beginning before Q1. Use that form and only change the Q1, Q3, and Q4 on it, and whatever is in the form on the bottom. Those C through F stay the same throughout the year. So that's something to note, and I highlighted that. I'll follow up with it once we get the contract number and such. Column number 1 will be the payee. That would be the employee name. Whatever employee name that you're reporting on, whatever, it's going to have to match the pay stub. So we'll have the employee name in column 1. Column 2 will be the position of the title of the employee. Check date. Some of the check dates, they are voucher dates. Just put the same one that match your backup. The check number, if the voucher number is there, please put the voucher number on each of those lines. Now, the rate of pay and the number of hours. There is some that work hourly, some work salary. But whatever you put in there will have to match the pay stub in full. We cannot break it down. I revise each one of the Excel spreadsheet when I get them to make them correspond to the pay stub. So the salaries employee, you're going to take the whole salary that you have on the pay stub and you're going to divide it by the number of hours and you're going to put those information in there. The gross salary should equal what's on the pay stub. Even if the employee is working 20% of their time, DOE would like to see the whole information in 5, 6, and 7 matching the pay stub. The FICA will have to be 7.65% of the gross pay or lower whatever amount is shown on the pay stub. So if the 7.65% is lower than the gross pay, please put what's on the pay stub. They reject it for a few cents, they send it back to us, or they ask me to revise it, or I will reach out to you. So try to be attentive to those little numbers. It makes a whole difference. Number 9, that percentage of time. This is where you're gonna put your calculations in there. If it's 100%, then it's gonna equal the whole pay stub. It depends on the percentage of the person. However, you are recording the payroll that is for that site, you could match this percentage. When I send you the form, I'll have the function for column 10 already done. So it's gonna automatically calculate everything that you're gonna put in the other area. I'm not gonna put the 7.65 of the gross salary because if the pay stub does not match the 7.65, you guys are gonna use the smaller number of both. And the totals all the way on the bottom, they will be the totals for each column. I'll have all of that set up for you at the beginning of the year, and you just have to save as and continue to do it that way throughout the year. Will make it easier for all of us. Thank you, Ryan. And that's it for 300. 301, that's a little bit of a complicated one here. 301, that would contain the benefits and the program expenses. They're only object codes. There is only what they would accept from us. And this is what you could see in column number 2. You're gonna put in all the columns what only applies to object codes 2C, 2D, and 2E, and so forth. So if you have an expense that's not corresponding to this, it's not gonna be accepted. So please do not put it in there because we'll have to take it out. Again, the form will be, you'll receive it with all the areas that you don't need to change. I put the notation here. You could take your time after our meeting to read it, but C through F will be the same. I'll send it to you, YMCA-site name. The quarters are gonna change per the quarters. Now, column number 1, benefit provider name, the one that provide the benefits for you, the company name dash the employee name. We have to see it that way. I probably reached out to most of you about this presentation for them because that's what DOE would require for us to provide it to them. Benefit provider dash the employee name for each of the line. And then you will have to use the object code number 2 that correspond to this list here. So if it's work comp, it's going to be 2C and so forth. Invoice date will have to be the invoice date, the provider's invoice that you are going to have to attach as a backup. So the pay stub, when it comes to benefit providers, are not, they're not accepting it. The pay stubs are an added backup, but it's not the only backup they need. They need to see the invoice from the benefit provider with the highlights of how much you as an association paying for that benefit, the ER portion of it. The invoice number will be the benefit provider invoice number, and you'll have to put it in there. The check number is a check number that you are in full, that you're paying for that benefit provider. And then what you're requesting in column 8 will be the portion of the employee that you are, what you're paying for the employee that you highlight. It's kind of like a lot to do, but if you utilize all these notations, you will find it easier and you won't have like a follow-up request from me and emails from me. Check number, ACH, voucher number, whatever payment, however you paid that provider, you would have to put the information in there. If it's a voucher number, put it in there. Have a backup from the bank that shows the details of how much of the invoice, the whole invoice amount will be there. Check date or voucher date, will have to match the backup. The amount, I said it here, and it's the full amount of the invoice. The requested amount is what you're asking DOE or you're asking Alliance to reimburse you for, and it has to be highlighted. So all these little notations, there's a lot of notes, hopefully it would help. So use it, please, and in your submittal to make the review easier. And providers, vendor invoices details along with the credit card statement. So if we are having any supplies for the program, please attach the payment for it. The receipt of the item that you're purchasing is not enough. We need to have a credit card statement. Journal entries, I omit those from your submittal. So if you don't have to submit the journal entry, because I cannot use them as a backup for DOE. They're not accepting that. And the invoices will have to be highlighted, same thing. And the percentages of any benefits will have to match the percentage of the pay stub. If the employee is working 20% of their time on the program, then the benefit you only allowed to request, the amount of it is up to the 20% that they worked on the program. You cannot request 100% of the benefit if the employee is working 20% of the time. So, and I do check those. That's why the Excel spreadsheet is really important. I keep looking at all of this. So keep that in mind. Sometimes I go back and I ask for revisions for this portion. Thank you, Ryan. Next one. It's good. Okay, so the unallowable expenses, I have not put that in the meeting at the beginning of the year, and it's really a good way of us all to know what they accept and what they do not accept. I had received in Q4 and in Q3 some items I had to reject and take out. But this list right here is what they have on our agreement with them. So it's easier that way to have it. So use that, please. And there is a copy. Yeah, Ryan said there is a copy of it, and you can refer to it at all time. If you do have a question, you could email me and I will get you exactly what DOE is saying if you're not so sure if it applies or not. One item that I see that also I have to omit, even if the item is applicable and it is reimbursable, we cannot include sales tax in these items. So if you're buying any books, anything, any supplies, and you don't have your tax exempt form in the time of purchase, only without taxes, sales tax have to be omitted. And that is something that I continue to revise in 301. So please keep an eye on the sales tax on your receipts. Next slide. Thank you. You've been receiving some of the emails from me like throughout the year, and we're going to continue to do this. So once we get the approval and the blessing of the quarterly submittal to DOE, I usually follow up with each association of what are the grant, like what is the award that you're having in full? What are your sites name? The association balance would be the available balance that you have to submit for the following quarters, and up to date submitted. What are you submitted and accepted by DOE and you will get reimbursed for? And then there would be another email that you'd receive coming out of either the finance email or my email directly, and that would be your payment. Whenever we issue payment, you get an email that says what is the location, how much is the amount, what quarter are we paying for, and such. So look out for those, 2 emails and reconcile at the end of each quarter. That would help us both stay on track and always reach out if there is a question. Very good, Ryan. Yes. Thank you. And you could always reach out to me. My email is there, and please copy Katie and Ryan on those emails so we could all be in the loop. because I usually forward our correspondence. So let's try to keep them in the emails when there is questions. I think I'm done, right? Is that the last slide?
Yeah,
All
that's the
right.
last
Thank you,
slide.
guys.
So
Yeah, is
yeah,
there any questions that you want me to answer before I head to my next meeting? Is there any question?
feel free to come off of mute.
Not a question, but just want to confirm, Rania, that I know you mentioned it in the beginning, you are hosting a training in September for any Ys that need like maybe a new fiscal agent or so we'll send out that date. And then Rania will be able to really walk through one-on-one. I look at these every year and I still always have questions. So we will send that out to all of our fiscal contacts.
Okay. Yeah, I could send that invitation out. Feel free to attend it. If not, that's okay. And that would be like focused mainly on the 300 form and the 301 form. If you read that notation that we're just discussing now and you're like, okay, I'm not really sure about it, bring those questions to those meetings. And it would be focused on the forms and the backup more than anything.
And I'll just add on the end for coordinators and new coordinators on the call, just so you guys know, you don't have to do any of these processes. This is for your Y and your finance department, so you won't have to do any of that. But it is good for you to hear this information, especially about the sales tax and stuff like that, just in case you are actually making those purchases yourself. So
Yeah.
just store this information in the bag somewhere.
Yeah, that's correct.
All right,
Kitty,
thank you
is
so
there
much,
any
Rania.
question? I think that there might be some questions.
You-
I think I saw one.
There's a question in the chat.
Are phone
Our
and hotspot bills allowable expenses? So
Okay,
staff cell phones and hotspots.
yes, they are a part of they consider those as a program supplies. You could turn those in. Just make sure that and I know like with you, Valentina, you're gonna be in that training, but I want to match the employee that you put in there. If that invoice does not have that employee name and have a different name, you're not going to be able to turn that in. So with Verizon, try to make sure that the invoice either have the site name, and if not, just make a notation, send an email. That would be a backup for us to turn in those invoices. But yeah, you could turn in the phone and the hotspot communications. So what other question do we have
Good to
here?
know. I don't think I see any more in the chat. Does anybody else have any questions?
If you do,
Okay.
Ronnie is off for the next 2 weeks, so let's
Yes.
give her a break and then we'll bombard her with questions when she's back.
Yeah, on the 25th, I believe that's the meeting. I'm gonna go ahead and forward it to everyone. Like if Ryan, if you could send me like the attendance of
Mhm, yeah.
whoever you want me to send it to, and I will just forward that meeting invite to everyone that hopefully they can show up and attend.
Absolutely. Thank you so much,
Okay.
Rania.
Thank you guys. Have a wonderful day.
Bye. Enjoy your vacation.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All right. Next up is Chelsea. She's going to handle our advocacy section. Katie, did you want to hop in and say something before that or after?
I'll do it now. Just
Okay.
putting me, yeah. So I just want to
Sorry.
say, I know most of you have met with Chelsea before. She came to one of our other meetings. I know that Ryan mentioned the increased funding and how you know, a lot of that was due to all of the work that the local Ys did and all the coordinators. But I really want to just publicly thank Chelsea because she is the one working with our lobbyist. She has been working with your CEOs to make sure that they make phone calls and secure that funding. So I just wanted to say that this is why this is great timing because it's very important. One, for just the longevity of our program, but the increased funding and the addition of funding is directly correlated with Chelsea. So just wanted to say that, and I will pass it to Chelsea.
My goodness, now I'm blushing. Hello, everyone. Really excited to be in this space. I could talk about advocacy all day long. So let's just kind of get into it. Ryan, if you want to advance the slide for me. Thanks so much. So the first kind of place I wanted to touch base on is why does it matter? I never want advocacy to feel like an added job description, right? It's something that we're already all doing naturally. We just don't over call it advocacy. So I just wanted to point out all of you on the call are huge advocates for the Y and are mobilizing every day for our families. So the first thing why it's important is that public policy matters and it impacts the why. So thinking about the licensing and thinking about zoning, different community activities that might impact regulations or all of those fun things, that is all public policy. So it's important that the why is a seat at the table when we're talking about early learning, childcare, out of school time, as we know that we do it the best. So my job and my mission is to ensure that everyone has space as well as is elevated for those opportunities so that we can share the impact to ensure that we are at the seat at the table. That kind of goes into it raises the Y profile. We always say that we're the largest child care provider or largest nonprofit child care provider in the state of Florida. So it's important to be in rooms when those decisions are being made about after school and about education and literacy terms and curriculum and things like that. We always want to educate and empower our officials, our members, and our volunteers about the Y mission, which is all part of advocacy efforts. And then, of course, your voice creates change, and we all have a story to tell. And so, Ryan, if you could advance the slide, I'm going to talk a little bit about the importance of the story. So, as Katie mentioned, and as Ryan also mentioned earlier in the beginning, the funding that's attached to the Y Reads program is an appropriation request. So every year, we already have a reoccurring amount within the state budget that's held for us. As we know, we ask for additional non-reoccurring funding each year. So that is an active advocacy effort every year that we are doing at the state level. We've done it, in Tallahassee during our advocacy days, which I would love to have as many folks there as possible. So if it is available to you, please get with me and your CEOs to talk a little bit about how we can get you to advocacy days. But we always ask for non-reoccurring funding. In the previous year, the 500,000 was the first time that we did not make it into the budget, right? So the budget is voted on both by the House and the Senate, and a lot of programs didn't make it into that budget. But we still remained that reoccurring funding. So last year we went back and instead of asking for the 500,000 that we have traditionally asked for, we asked for 750,000. We took stories from across the movement. We took examples on what that loss of that non-reoccurring funding did for the Y movement and the Y Reads program in general. So that impact created a mobilization. If anybody has ever received those maybe emails from YUSA that says like, take action now, sign on for childcare, reach out to your representatives. That is through a database that we call Quorum. You'll hear me talk a little bit about that moving forward. So for the first time, the state office put together a take action alert that we have about 1,200 contacts in that database. Which sounds like a lot, but if you look at the members and the folks and the volunteers in our Florida movement alone, that's like 1%. So my ask has been, if you aren't a part of that network, if your members aren't a part of that network, your volunteers, your families, please have them get involved in that. Again, it's not like we're bombarding like emails, but we're sending updates on funding that could potentially need their input and impact. So I say all that to say the take action that we did, 91 actions were taken between 46 individuals. So that means that 1,000 some folks received an email inbox that said, please write to your representative and your senator to talk about why Reads is so important. And 46 of those individuals took the time to advocate for the program, which is great. But I would love to see that as all 1,300. But That's okay. I will take the 46. But I say all that to say is advocacy is really important because without those efforts and without the efforts of our Ys doing those impact and inviting officials to the sites, showing them the opportunity to read with the youth, with the families, we would not have received that funding. So it really took a lot of mobilization across the state. So we're really, really proud of that effort. There is a QR code if you wanted to scan that. That will take you to our quorum link, but I'll walk through that in a little bit as well. Can you advance the slide for me, Ryan? So a lot of folks ask, what does it look like at my site? We talk a lot about the MOU and having those 3 engagement opportunities throughout the year as part of that partnership with the Florida State Alliance. So I just wanted to walk a little bit about how that could look. Again, my mission and my role here is to make sure that this is as easy and as fluid as possible for you and your Ys. So if you need resources, development, tools, if you need me to reach out and invite any officials, I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to meet with anyone to encourage this and be a seamless process. But really, what that looks like is inviting some of those leaders, and they don't always have to be state officials. I really want to stress that. Think of your superintendent, your mayor, your commissioner, your city council members, the folks that are really making the decisions in the local community. Open up the doors to the Y Read site. Show them the curriculum, the program, how it's effective. Because what happens is when we are in Tallahassee in March, which we will be there in March, to advocate for more additional funding for this program or the continued funding of this program, we don't want to walk into those doors of those either representative or the senator and it be the first time that they've ever heard of the program, right? We want them to be like, I love that program. I was there last month and I was able to see it and the Y welcomed me. It just makes the impact so much deeper. So that is why we're really trying to stress that. The second is, highlighting it in the local media. So if you have a visit, highlight that with the press, take pictures, post it online. All of those amazing things like candidates, are folks that are coming to the offices. They really want to be photographed. So it's like a nice kind of way to give back as well. And then, communicate the impact. So leaving them with data is really not going to do too much. But if you hand them just like a 1-pager, so if you already have those like nice, really great flyers, you take them through the site, a 30-minute visit, they have a really great time. And then, just hand them a folder with what they can do, right? They can support the continuing of non-reoccurring and the reoccurring funding that supports this program. And then lastly, but not, I would say the most important is the storytelling piece. If you have volunteers, staff, families that are really impacted by this program, which we all have dozens, pull them into that meeting, have them share their stories. And I'm going to call out some of my champions on here, and they don't know, I don't know if they know I'm going to do it. I tried to send them a private message, but Maria and John, you guys just had an incredible event, your Popsicles for Policymakers. And I would love if you could just maybe come off mute and share a little bit about how how you did that, what that looked like, the event itself, and anything that this group can kind of learn from, if you don't mind.
John, do you want to go first? Are you on? Oop. Maybe he's not. Okay, I guess I'll talk then. I thought I saw him on there.
Yeah, he just
Oh,
stepped
Dee Dee, go ahead.
he just left off for a second. I actually, Chelsea, this morning I'm working on sending you like a little brief update on how it went because I promised I will. I think it was great. We had we had the commissioner come in, somebody from Senator Moody's office. We had from Representative Ben Roche's office, and we had some of our city council come in. I think the engagement with the kids was great. They were dancing, challenged to do a split, roasted with a bunch of questions. From my perspective, I thought it was good. And Maria helped with the questions with the kids and, helped me decorate and everything. I thought it was a hit. And I think next year we have a potential of making it bigger and better.
Great. It was our first one, but it I think definitely impacted. It went both ways. The kids were extremely engaged, more so than I thought, because I really didn't know what they knew. These are fourth and fifth graders. Now we had that in Naples. Down in Marco, we had younger kids. And you just don't know what kids know in terms of civics and so forth, but they were they thought they were rock stars. I think that was kind of my impression. And the engagement was wonderful. And then our reciprocal engagement with the policymakers really seeing, the noise, the chaos, but yet our surroundings and where we have these kids at the Y and what they're doing and activities, and they did little songs, and I think it opened their eyes as well. So it was a nice positive experience for everyone. We just learned a few little tweaks we'll do next year, right, Dee Dee?
Yeah, and it was really cool
it
to
better.
see how smart the questions were too. And
Absolutely.
it looked like they had a little to no help from the counselors too. So then the counselors were encouraging, like, okay, well, ask also like normal question, like, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? They're like super, how do you make law? And like they were like really good questions. So they were like also simplify, ask simple questions too. It's okay. They're regular people just like we are. It's okay to ask normal questions.
Absolutely. And then I love that. I love that it was a great experience. Dee Dee, can you talk a little bit for the group? How did you get them there? How did it happen?
Um, I looked up online, if there's any contacts. Most of it is all online available. Um, so for like the commissioners, senators, congressmen, like I invited everybody in Florida, and I would go to their aides. So if they have an assistant or whatever, I contacted them directly, respectfully, and they would respond. Usually they can make it or they can't make it, and if they can make it, they would offer somebody from the office to join, like from Senator Moody's office. Southwest Florida director came over. And then for the local council, I reached out directly to them. Um, yeah, so I went to their aides and assistants and whoever handles their schedulers. And they were all very responsive. And to the councils, I went directly to them because they're local.
Awesome. And then I want to say too, like it's so important. You think like building the relationship with like the senator or the representative is like and like the most important, but really building the relationship with the aides and the schedulers is the most important. Their job is to take all of these different initiatives, all of these different opportunities within the community, write one pagers and say, okay, this is what's happening. This is the important part. So that's amazing, fantastic. You've already started to open up those doors to building those strong relationships. And Senator Moody, fun fact, is a youth and government alumni. So has those ties to the YMCA, which is really awesome. So I love that. So thank you guys for sharing. I think it's just important to show like it can be simple. Buy some popsicles, get the folks there, have them play with the kids, and share a little bit about the impact. So thank you guys for all the hard work on that. I can't wait to see your summary and share that out with the rest of our CEOs. So thank you, Dee Dee. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I thought it worked very well also for Maria to make these great contacts because she's in charge of our youth and government. And she made great connections. I thought
I did.
super cool.
Very,
Thank
very
you.
good connections, and I'm going to jump on those today.
Yay, I love
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
So, and I didn't know that about Senator Moody, so I'm on that. Yeah.
Yep. I've
Thank
been
you.
trying to get her to film a cute little video. I'm like, I need a video.
Oh, yeah. Great
That's
info.
awesome.
Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. Well, wonderful. So, Ryan, is it okay if I just share my screen and show quorum just really quickly? You can actually advance to the next slide first before. I'm sorry. I think there's like the resource tab. Yes. So here's some different, again, like some different tasks or things that you can do. Again, Quorum is just our database. I'm also happy. So we have access at the Alliance. We get one seat. We pay YUSA to have access for that seat. And I can pull anything. So I can pull a bio on a local official. I can pull how many meetings were logged with that official. I can pull, what committees that they sit on, anything that you might need to be successful. So if you have a question on a specific council member, state representative, et cetera, and you need some more information, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And why it's so important to log those interactions is that so that we have that database, right? So then when the next person goes to maybe do an event or host something or run into somebody, now they can say, oh, you've met with the Y 6 times. So instead of leading with, we're the YMCA, these are the things that we do. Now you know that they know that, and you can say, how was that meeting that you went with Collier County? How did it go? I heard that they had a really great time. I loved seeing pictures of it, and it just shows the deepness of the relationships that we can build across the Florida movement. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to share my screen, and I'm just going to show just briefly what that looks like. And then Ryan's putting together an incredible form, and on that form it will have a link to quorum. But again, I don't want this to be like something that's going to be a barrier or hold you up. So if you go to try to log that meeting or log in this interaction, you have questions, my email is also on that form. Please reach out. I'm happy to log it for you or walk you through the process too. So but to show you our site. So this is our quorum site. This is all things advocacy that live here, right? So one of the things to take note, so for example, that really great summer camp activity, we're going to log that. So if we go in here and log that said meeting, and we wanted to put Moody into here, we would just find whoever that contact was. Obviously, it wouldn't be Senator Moody, but their legislative aide will also most likely be in here. So just go ahead, you would click that. You would type in which or select which interaction it was. So it was an event attended, the date, the time of said event, and then just tell us about it, right? So Representative Moody came, she shook hands, attended a summer camp activity for popsicles for policymakers. We will follow up for, future event, whatever. It doesn't have to be super detailed, just something that we know so that we can talk to it or speak to it if so. And then any type of related issue, so it'd be literacy, right? And then we would just submit that and log that in there. So again, I can pull all of those meetings that were logged. So I can work with Ryan, and Ryan can say, how many interactions has Collier County logged? And I can say, oh, they've logged these initiatives. This is the meetings that they've logged, and we can work on getting that back and presenting it too. So there's that piece I wanted to show. Again, on here, I wanted to show just our issues, right? So our priorities, our 3 key priorities, literacy being the important topic that we are talking about today. So if you do need any type of talking points, we update these as well to talk about what are different talking points. So say you are inviting a representative into the Y-Read space and you wanted to know, oh, we're asking for $750,000 in non-reoccurring this year. Maybe I can mention that, or here's just some data points and things like that. And then this was the action alert that I mentioned earlier. Again, now that we've received that funding, we'll take this down, but I wanted to show this as an example. So all of this can be found, again, easily accessed. If you, want to log a story from one of your families, you can log that. If you want to log your own story, you can log that as well. So I just encourage you to take some time, maybe log some things. There's even a section if you don't know who your officials might be. You can type in your address and it'll tell you, who your county folks are, all of that fun stuff too. But again, if you have any questions or need anybody to walk you through that or your team through that, I'm happy to do that. If you're interested in becoming an advocacy ambassador and learning more skills to do this in your everyday, I'm also happy to help walk you through what that opportunity would look for. And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer that now. But if not, I can throw it over back to Ryan.
Thank you, Chelsea. Sweet. Let's get back into it. Those are the resources. Oh, let me go back. This is Chelsea's contact information. If you don't have it, that way, if you do need to reach out to her, also CC me and Katie in those as well, because we want to make sure we're in the loop and can help you guys with any of those things, or help push forward some of those questions and get training where needed.
And I do want to also encourage, use your peers and your network too. So now, like, if you have questions, like Dee Dee can answer some of those, right? Of doing this. I saw Shannon also on the call who has attended advocacy days before with us, right? So there are folks in this peer network specifically that can also help, sharpen any advocacy tools that you might need as well.
Sweet. Thank you, Chelsea. Okay. All right, so that is the end of the first portion. So if any of the supervisors need to hop off, go to another meeting, feel free. I do recommend staying. That way you can get a little bit of the insight of what the coordinators have to go through throughout the school year. But if you do need to run, feel free to hop off. Have a great weekend. But coordinators, we're about to hop into the nitty-gritty. Most of you have seen a good chunk of this already. But for those of you who are new, again, you're going to get a brief synopsis of all things that are Y Reads. Again, we'll do more trainings later that will deep dive into that throughout the month of August. But let's get into it. First things first, I have a few shout outs. So in the year of last year, 25, 26, we had top 3 sites. Normally I like to send out prizes. That's one of my things. I love to reward you guys because we don't always get that pat on the back. But I wanted to give a shout out to these 3 sites because they won our statewide awards for excellence. So the first site, or sites, because she did cover 2 sites, uh, was Winston and Kathleen. Doreen is our coordinator over there. She got our Literacy Champion Award. And that basically goes to the coordinator that went above and beyond to promote literacy and student engagement. I have a prize for you guys that I'll be sending out in the mail. And then our second one is Inglewood. That's Marlene. She got our data champion. So basically, me and a couple people on our team go through a full audit multiple times throughout the year. And Miss Marlene had pristine data. Pristine data. So she got our data champion for that. And then our last one is my ACA. Amy is over there. Funny thing, Marlene and Amy are from the same Y, Southwest Florida. Shout out. But Amy got our curriculum champion, and basically that coordinator demonstrates exceptional implementation of the curriculum and the curriculum resources. So shout out to the 3 of you. You will get actually, it's one of my favorite things. Some of you have already seen it before, but this is like the pseudo teacher planner. You won't get this one, but you'll each get one that I'm sending out your way. And it starts in August, so it'll go all the way through July. You'll get that in the mail. But congratulations to you guys. Again, I like to give out prizes, so I may do that again a few times throughout the year. But shout out to you guys. But also, congratulations to everybody. You guys did such a great job last year. Again, the funding was crazy, but you guys still showed up and showed out for this program and for the kids that you serve. So congratulations to everybody in the boots on the ground and the supervisors and WADs that support them. All right, so let's get into it. First off, I want to go over our goals. I'm not going to read through all of it. I'll just hit a couple bullet points, but pretty much this is what's in our methodology about how the program is run. Our first goal is to show improvement in reading scores. So that's the STAR test that these kids take, our iReady assessments. We want to show literacy improvement in those areas. And the points on the side, those are pretty much how the coordinators themselves contribute to those scores, and how they support this goal. But it's essentially the things that you guys do every day with monitoring, implementation, and differentiating instruction. Our next goal is to improve the number of students that are promoted to the next grade level. Um, we do have a lot of low students. The majority of our kids are like the bottom 25 percentile of their schools. So to get any student promoted that is 1, 2, 3 grade levels behind, especially in literacy, is pretty huge. We can say that we do have a good number of our students. I believe it's like 92% or something like that, 9 or 95. I can double check that number, but that percentage is always higher than 85. Our students are generally promoted to the next grade level. So shout out to you guys for that support. The next one is in our curriculum. We do use SIPs, which is Systematic Instruction in Phonics, Phonological Awareness, and Sight Words. Lots of words. It's our main curriculum, but we also measure how far they advance and promote through the levels of that curriculum. That's part of our documentation and tracking that we do for our students in one of our measures. So how far the students improve in that is one of our goals. The next one is satisfactory school attendance. Believe it or not, students will go to school so they can go to Y Reads, which is a crazy thing to hear. You think they just would go to school because they need school, but sometimes they don't like to go to school, but they love to go to Y Reads. But the thing is, if they're attending school during the day, then they're making it to Y Reads anyway. So we build those relationships with those students, with those families, and stress how important attendance is. It's actually mandatory for our program, and that guarantees that the students show up to school because they come to us afterwards. And we aim for about 75%, but it's usually higher than that based on the surveys that we collect from families and teachers. Last goal is behavior. So I mentioned earlier that Y Reads is a literacy and a mentorship program. And so a huge amount of the jobs that the coordinator does is build those relationships with the students. And in doing so, building community, teaching them life skills, all that fun stuff, it helps to strengthen their sense of community and their sense of belonging in the school and with their peers. And so that's how we end up boosting up that school behavior. All of our surveys usually exceed the 75% amount. But this is also how we measure our success with our students. All righty, let's get into the grant info. First things first, deliverables. The deliverables are essentially everything that you guys turn in and that we later in turn into the DOE, all the data that we collect. Normally we set these measures with the DOE ahead of the grant year. We do a whole application just like the Ys do for us that breaks down exactly what we say we're going to do. And in those deliverables that we collect from you guys, that's the proof of all those things. There are some new and returning deliverables. New example would be that advocacy component that is kind of the responsibility of both the coordinator and the Y. We'll speak more about that in a little bit. But generally, those deliverables are either ongoing, weekly, monthly, or quarterly tasks. There is a timeline that you'll see that has all of that broken down. That timeline is currently located in the coordinator drive. It's I think we set it up every quarter. So quarter one is completely available to you right now. All of the links, all of the deliverables are available for quarter one. There are some different formats that have been updated as well. Again, we'll go through that a little bit today, but we'll do a deep dive of that when we do the training later on this month. The Google Forms have also been updated a little bit. Generally, most of our stuff goes through Google. So if your Y has a block or is no longer using Google things, please let me know. We can try to find a workaround. I think generally someone just creates their own email through through Google so they can access those items. But if for some reason you have an issue with that, please let me know and we'll find a way to make sure you guys can get your deliverables in. But generally, most of this stuff goes through Google Drive and Google Forms. Most of your deliverables won't have to be emailed. We eliminated a lot of that unless there's like a late submission or something like that. But for the most part, all of that is accessible through the items. Updates to the deliverables. So returning is our peer-to-peer visits. We did remove that from last year due to the cut in funding, but we are bringing it back. I know a lot of people enjoyed going to visit the different sites, but basically what you'll have the opportunity to do is to go visit a YMCA READS program outside of your Y. So if you're in Tampa, you can go visit assuming your supervisor approves the area you visit, you can go visit Collier, or you can go visit St. Pete, or you can go visit Suncoast, or one of the other Ys out of the area. We've got plenty of sites. Again, talk to your supervisor, but once we start to talk about that situation, we'll get you connected with who you're interested in. You'll have a bunch of options, and then you can discuss with your supervisor about who you would like to go see. We're also bringing back the in-person conference. Sadly, we did not have that last year. We had to do a Zoom one, which was a little sad because I love seeing everybody in person. That's one of my favorite parts of the year. And I also give a lot of prizes out there too. But we are bringing that back this year. And instead of April, we were going to be doing it in January. So we decided to move it a little sooner because we want to make sure we're giving you guys items that you guys can use throughout the year. And earlier in the year versus waiting until like April when it's all kind of almost over. So we'll be doing it in January, most likely in Tampa. So Tampa peeps, I'll be reaching out to you pretty soon about getting that on the schedule, but we'll be doing that in January. Again, the new things, the advocacy test, there's a whole form that will be connected to your normal deliverables. We'll again go more in depth into that later, but for this particular one, either you'll be submitting something that you've done, or you can connect with whoever your supervisor is or whoever your advocacy champion is for your Y and get the information for them or have them fill out the form. So we can there's information in the form on how you can collect that information before you have to turn it in. The statewide audit deliverables. So there will be points throughout the year where sites will have to send in information. So example, you'd have to send in copies of your referrals because referrals determine whether the student is eligible for the program. You might have to send in attendance for attendance verification. Things like that. So once that stuff starts to pop up, you'll get that information in advance, but it'll be an all-site thing when we start to do those type of audits versus one or two sites. But it's just, again, to make sure that the data is clean and we're catching some of the errors that we might see throughout the year earlier on. And then the submission process has changed slightly. Again, we're going to go deep dive into all the deliverables and all that fun stuff during the training. But the comprehension submissions for RAS Plus, that has changed slightly in how you're going to submit that, as well as how the lesson plan and reflection are submitted. Those are also going to be changed. So those are a little easier. We were using a separate document last time, which I think kind of made it a little hard to maneuver. So we updated it a little bit this year. So it would be, hopefully it makes it a little easier for you guys. You can let me know if it doesn't. Really quick, this is the timeline as soon as it loads. So I moved the important links. I can zoom in. This might be too small. I moved the important links tab into this one as well. So now all of those links where it's got like your contact list, which I need to add because we're still collecting information for coordinators. But your lesson plan template is here. Your ounce link, timeline link is in here. Coordinator drive link. Canva templates, that's new this year. I uploaded flyers and templates for the startup presentation with your students. I'm also doing a volunteer one. Just a template, you can use it, edit it in Canva, make a copy of it and use it. There's also our YouTube channel that has all of our trainings. Those get uploaded. So if there's ever any volunteers or anyone that need access to the trainings but don't have access to our Google Drive, they can go and see those recorded trainings there. And then as far as the timeline and deliverables, as I said, they're separated by quarter. So when the next quarter pops up, this quarter will close out and then you'll see the ones right behind it. But for July, I'm going to point this out because July we normally start really kick off the grant in August. So there's not a lot going on in July. So any of those July deliverables will be due in August. So when you do those forms for August, you do the July ones at the same time. So you're not late if you're returning and you're like, what happened with the July deliverables? Don't worry, you're not late. Those are going to get turned in with August. But all of that is in here. This is generally what it looks like. It's in order of what's required weekly. It's got dates in here. The lunch and learn stuff's going to pop up. The dates are here for that. You will get invites for all of those. Also, your submission forms for your deliverables, they're here. The quarterly items, you can submit those. So you don't have to wait until the end of the month to submit those. So these are available here as well. So if you do one in July or you do one in August, you don't have to wait until September to submit those. You can submit them throughout the quarter. There's also your professional development, same thing. You don't have to wait to the end of the quarter to submit those. And then we'll get connected because not only will I be doing quarterly check-ins with your supervisors, I'll also be doing monthly check-ins with you guys so we can stay connected, just like last year. So if there's any questions or anything that you have during that time or anytime, you can hit me up. But we'll have like a 15 to 30 minute meeting where we can chat about whatever you need to chat about. Okay. In it, it's got the due dates, the tasks, any required documentation, and then some notes. Make sure you read all of it. When you go to submit, don't just wait till the end of the month to look at it. Always be prepared for the things you need to submit. But it's got like whether you need to do a link or whether you need to send something or whether you need to keep a hard copy. I would say anything that you do, keep a hard copy because if there's no proof of it, it doesn't exist. Didn't happen. So you'll hear that from me a lot. So make sure you are documenting all of your things. But that's the timeline. Again, there'll be more once the quarters open up. I believe early September quarter 2 will pop up. All right. Any questions about any of this stuff that I've talked about so far? Feel free to come off mute.
All right, I'm coming off.
Okay.
What are the July deliverables? We're confused.
That is, I'll go back to it. It's not a lot because for most of the programs weren't even running in July, but essentially it's like if you had any summer attendance, make sure you put a hard copy on file. If you did any advocacy tasks, you can go ahead and put that in for July. There is a form, but it's just asking check-in questions like, how did your summer go? How many kids did you serve? Are there any things you need to turn in essentially? And then if you did any recruiting, generally you don't in July. All of that's available for that section. And then if you did any professional development, a lot of people do professional development during the summertime. You can submit those as well. That makes sense?
Yep.
Okay, great. But again, you're not late on that. Most of you are just seeing the July deliverables. All that's going to be due in August with the August deliverables. All right. Any more questions?
Not a question, just a random unprompted statement. You guys know
Yeah.
you guys love these for me. I have to run in a second, so I just wanted to I know I kind of say this every year, but just to kind of provide some context. So one, we're very open to feedback and a lot, I know every year things look a little different and a lot of that is due to feedback that we get. So please continue to give Ryan and me feedback on those things. I know sometimes it seems like maybe a little bit more or when we take something away or whatever, but I promise it's all done with intention. It's not done to like how can we make this harder for them? You know what I mean? So if we make a change to something, it's often probably due to either feedback or us seeing that something was missing, right? And like the reason that we do the audits and all that stuff, like if Chelsea or your supervisor, or your CEO, or anyone says, "Hey, um, you know, what's our current data in Tampa? I've got somebody that wants to come out and see the site." We should be able to pull that at any time, right? We don't want to have to call Tampa and say, "Hey, can you please?" I'm just picking on Tampa, right? Because they're close to me, but you know what I mean. So the reason that the deliverables and stuff are so important is so that we can continue to go out and support the sites and continue to bring people out and continue to get funding. So just want to reiterate that everything is done with intention. If you ever see that something can be tweaked or made better, please just bring it to us. We may be too open to feedback, which is why we're always like, hey, let's do this, let's do this. But you guys are the ones that we're serving. So please let us know if something needs to be tweaked or made better. And before I leave, I just want to give a shout out to Ryan. I know she's not expecting this, but um, y'all, I didn't know what I was doing. If y'all were here when I was the director, I was trying. I made it through. We were all friends. Everything was fine. But Ryan is really I was just doing a report for my CEO, and we've seen like over a 60% increase in compliance and just having everything available since Ryan has taken over as the state director, which is super important, right? Our program is very data driven. We're one of the only data driven programs in the Y. And it's really important that we can go and pull that data anytime so that we can continue to advocate and continue to get more funding, more programs. I hate seeing that little side of the state where there's no programs. I want more. We want more. So her effort is really it's really important, and you guys just I think all work together so well. So just thank you to Ryan for all of your initiative and making sure that we do have everything that we need. So at any time I can pull up anything. I know where everything is. Um, and she's just very organized. So God forbid, my boss always says the Mack truck. If you get hit by a Mack truck, someone should be able to. I could. It wouldn't be good, but I could go in and pick right up where she left off if I needed to. So, shout out to Ryan. Thank you. And just continue to give us feedback if we need it. So,
100%.
there's my yearly
Signing
TED
off.
Talk. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Brian, I have a question.
Sure.
This is the first year I'm seasonal. I did not work in July. So
Mhm.
what do I report for deliverables?
So you wouldn't have to do anything for July. I'll
Thank you.
just put that. Yeah, I normally will go in and put no coordinator or something like that for when the
Okay.
program wasn't running or something to indicate that you weren't working at that time. So
Well,
if
it
you
doesn't
weren't
mean
working at all, you weren't on anybody's paycheck from Y Reads, then you don't have to worry about July delivery.
no, but even in Alaska, I picked up books for kids and things like that. So it's never out of my mind.
Oh, that's because you're a
I may
saint.
be out of my mind, but my
I
reads is
love
never
that.
out of my mind.
I love that.
Thank
See,
you.
Esther is like for the kids, man. Listen. I love that. I love that. Okay. I'm gonna stop blushing and go ahead and move forward. I love you guys, by the way. Anyway, so how do we know if we're in compliance? That word is very scary. In compliance, non-compliance. Ugh. I I get it. It's very I come from the land of license boards, so I know how that word can be scary for some. But please keep in mind that this is all for the support of you and to continue supporting the program's growth. So anyway, how do you know? Questions you can ask yourself. Have I submitted my deliverables? Have I submitted them correctly? Is my data up to date and accurate? Not just in ounce, but also in the files. That stuff's got to match. Do you have and are you using the required materials? So do you have your SIPS materials? Are you using them? Do you have access to your RAS Plus? Are you using it in the best way you can? Because I know technology can be a pain. Do you have staff? Do you have a coordinator on site? Are you maintaining your ratio? Do you have mentors? The number of adults that you have in that room can drastically change how well you run a program. I've seen great coordinators struggle because they don't have enough people in a room. So for the supervisors that are in the call, keep that in mind. The number of people are really what make the program great, because we're able to provide that individualized and fine-tuned support to those students when the groups are small, because otherwise we'd just be another classroom and those kids would still be lost. So make sure that that ratio is up there. And then are you meeting your numbers, your attendance, and your expectation growth? So that data tracking, we're looking at attendance, we're looking at attendance hours, we're looking at not only student logged hours, but mentor logged hours. We're looking at how the proof is being shown through your data in our database. But on top of that, when we come into your sites to view, we're looking at that data being shown in person, whether it's physical paperwork or whether it's how you're implementing the curriculum. So think about those things as you think about compliance. Again, we'll deep dive more into how these things work and how they should look for the most part, because there's a lot of autonomy in this job. But we'll deep dive into more things as far as when we get to what it's supposed to look like. Non-compliance versus compliance. So how do you know if you're out of compliance, essentially? If things are frequently late, missing, again, inaccurate, or whether that's data, documentation, or any of your tracking for the students, you should be daily tracking any of the students that you work with. You have to have proof of it. Thanks, Beth. Bye. That documentation, again, is additional proof that you are doing the job you say you're doing and that that kid is being helped. And so again, if there's no proof of it, if it's not documented, it didn't happen. So I'm going to say that again multiple times throughout the year. Make sure it's documented and as detailed as possible, because you want to be able to transfer that information. Somebody should be able to pick up that information and understand what's going on with that kid, at least briefly for the most part. An auditor, a person doing a site visit, another coordinator, if God forbid, well, God forbid you win the lottery and leave us and decide to leave us, someone needs to be able to pick up your program and help that kid next. So you want your data to tell a story about that child and how they're being supported. Low enrollment, attendance hours, those are things that we look at pretty often because those are measurables that we turn into the DOE. That's the numbers that we say every year, how many kids we're going to serve every quarter. Generally, we exceeded, but we're looking at not just how many kids you have, but how long you have them for. Each MOU says an amount of hours you're supposed to maintain with the students. Generally, it's 3. I think there's only a couple programs that have an adjustment to theirs, but generally it's 3 hours a week, and you're seeing them twice a week. If for some reason that's different, usually it's listed on your MOU. If you have questions about that, feel free to hit me up about it. If your program's not running, as I said before, if your program's not running by November 1st, which is, I think is late, then they're going to pull your funding and give it to someone that is running program, because unfortunately, the later, as I said before, the kids start, the less likely you're going to be able to get that data that you need for them that we then need to turn into the DOE. So again, that's information and stuff that usually goes through your supervisor. There's conversations before any of this pops up, or as these things pop up, there will be communication about all of it. Again, out of ratio, low mentor numbers. Mentors or anybody who's working with the students. Mentors can be filled in with staff, volunteers. We do very much recommend the volunteers because it does make a difference, and we understand that most Ys can't hire 5 Y-Read staff for one site. That gets a little pricey, and we don't give you $1 million to run a site, so that we can understand that. But you would fill in those adults with mentors who get trained. And then lack of communication and missing mandatory meetings. Things happen with me, with you. People get sick, people win the lottery. It happens. But communicating those things when you're not going to show up to meetings, especially the mandatory ones, those state wide monthly meetings, those are mandatory. just make sure you're communicating. And then those one-on-ones too, if we miss that, we can always reschedule it. Just hit me up. Calendars can be weird as well. So any questions about compliance before I move forward? Again, we're going to deep dive into this stuff during the trainings, but okay, great. Communication, you can reach me phone, email. You can use my Calendly link or Google Calendar link to set up a meeting directly on my calendar. We do site visits. So this year, I'll be happy to see every one of you. And then also we do our one-on-one Zoom calls. Another communication, your data is always going to speak first. It's what we see first. We're not in your classrooms every day, so we heavily rely on what we see in ounce and what we see in your digital data. So keep that in mind, that communication is what we're going to see first through your data. Task and actions, how those are completed, how well they're completed, all that stuff leads to shout outs and awards, but it also leads to continued funding and advocacy for the program. We also do surveys. We survey you, we survey families, we survey teachers, and I'm surprised we don't survey the kids too, but maybe one day. And then we have trainings and peer-to-peer. So plenty of opportunities to communicate and hear your voice, and for you to hear mine. You're going to hear my voice a lot. So feel free to tell me to stop talking when I'm talking too much, and ask a question or insert an opinion. GPS, guidance, peer community, and support. So essentially what I normally say is, we are the support, you are the problem solver. Again, we are way over wherever we are, and you are way over wherever you are. So it's not likely we can get to you in a hot second if things happen. It's not like your supervisor, who is sometimes in the same building at least once a day with you. We're further away. So there's kind of like a protocol of sorts depending on what the situation is. So you'll have the opportunity to ask your supervisor for a ton of things, anything purchase related, anything when it comes to like violations of your collaborative agreement. And for those of you who don't know, the collaborative agreement is the agreement that is signed with the school and with your Y and with the school district. It basically says they're going to host Y Reads. And there's, if you haven't seen it, I'll make sure you can see it. I'll put a copy of the draft in the coordinator drive, but it's essentially the agreement that you have with the school. So anything related to purchases, school shenanigans, what I call it, go ahead and talk to your Y. Those are first lines of defense. Any HR related stuff, that's all your Y. For your school, if there's an internet issue, a space issue, an issue with their personnel, always include your supervisor. And you can include me as well, because we're here to give guidance and support on as much as we can. But definitely talk to the school about those things. Don't be afraid to advocate for yourself, especially boots on the ground people. I will tell you, if you do not advocate for yourself, because we are the best kept secret. So make sure, if you're going through something, you're dealing with something, speak to someone about it. Especially program related, because if you don't say anything, no one will know, and then you'll just be in whatever situation you're in. So I prefer you to speak up. Peers, you will have access to the plethora of people and knowledge and resources that are the other coordinators. Like I said, there are people who've been here way longer than me, over 20 years in this program. So I will say I'm not the smartest person in the room about all these things, right? Like, I've been in the classroom for 7 years, and I know where you come from. I can empathize, and I've also been on both sides. So I've got a lot of knowledge. However, there are a bunch of people around you who have done this thing too in different ways and have dealt with different people and can give you just as much knowledge. Whether you're new or old, you can share knowledge. So everyone has a voice in this room. When we sit down and have a collaboration and talk, don't feel like you have to hold your voice because you don't think you've been here long enough, or maybe you think you've been here too long. I don't know, but please share information. I'm very open with collaboration. That has always been my thing. So that's open. And then again, obviously me and anyone else in the alliance. You met Chelsea today, you met Katie today. You can reach out to either of us with questions about the things related to whatever fields, but feel free to ask a question. I would rather you ask me a billion questions and then for you to have to do something a billion times wrong. Because that can take a toll on someone. So please, I don't care. Esther knows. I don't care what the question is. You can ask me a billion questions. Anyway, volunteer recruitment, that is the responsibility of the coordinator generally. And I say generally because some Ys do have like a coordinator that handles volunteer recruitment and all that fun stuff. But I will say there are a ton of coordinators on this call that are really good with volunteer recruitment and training and retention. Those are all three good things about volunteer recruitment and volunteerism in this program. So feel free to reach out to either of those for that. We can help find resources as well. But generally, that is the responsibility of the coordinator. Please use your resources, use your why, use social media. We also have templates for volunteer recruitment as well. And again, volunteer training. But any questions you have, even outside of this realm, you can send me a question. If I can help you, I'll help you. If I can't, I'll direct you to the person who can. Okay? All right, great. Any questions about any of this? All right, cool. Upcoming trainings, I mentioned this before. Again, you guys are going to get invites for these. We'll have the program expectations and deliverables. This is the deep dive that I was talking about where we'll go through each of those forms. So you'll be able to see exactly what the expectation is. It's kind of written a little bit in the timeline. Also in those forms, there's like a criteria and a breakdown for those as well. But again, I'm aware that everyone's not tech savvy. Everyone hasn't done deliverables before or any grant report, like any of that stuff. Everyone hasn't done it. So I'm happy to go through any of it. And we'll have trainings to cover some of these things. We'll also go through OUNCE and iReady. Those are our digital resources. OUNCE is our database. iReady is our assessment piece. That's our second one. We'll hit program structure, what it's supposed to look like, basically the skeleton. And then we'll do a session for each of the levels of the curriculum for SIPs, beginning, challenge, and plus, and extension. We'll do an additional one on how to instruct. So what does it look like to instruct outside of just learning the curriculum? How do you do the instruction part? How do you determine where a kid goes? How do you test a kid, pre-test and mastery test? We'll also have a RAS Plus led training. It will just be a general orientation. I will say I found that in our previous trainings that they haven't been as detailed as we've needed. So we'll do the general basic ones where they go through like, hey, this is RAS Plus, this is Foundations A to Z. They'll do that, and then we'll do our own deep dive later on. And then on the 31st, that's the day that your deliverables are due for August. I'll have an open session for about an hour where anybody can pop in. One, if you want me to walk you through anything, I can do a straight walkthrough of all the deliverables. If you got any questions about deliverables, if you're scared about a deliverable, pop on. I'm ready. But outside of that, feel free to message me, email me, hop on a Zoom call. I can walk you through any of the things. But these are just the August trainings. So if anything pops up outside of that, we'll let you know. But we generally have a couple trainings a month, either that we will put on or we'll send you a third-party training. In addition to those, there are a ton of trainings that are in our coordinator drive as well. I'm actually going to pop into there really quick before we get off because we got a little extra time. But there's trainings in there. There's all kind of cool resources. Let me go into that really quick while we're here. So this coordinator drive, and again, hold on, it's loading, so it won't let me click it. Let me zoom in. Can you guys see that? Yeah. Okay. This is a coordinator drive. We normally keep files for about 5 years, so you'll be able to go in here and look at the previous grant years, but this is the one Can I change the color of this? This is the one for this year. Outside of the program documents, there are also there are 3 additional folders in here. The first folder is all things marketing, all things YReads as far as things you can share out. So in the literature folder, that's where you're going to find our evaluation that we get, the third-party evaluation that we get from Ounce. You'll find finance documents in here. So the allowable expense document that Rania was talking about earlier, that one's going to be in here. Compliance, that's where you're going to find that compliance document, as well as our handbook. FYI, that handbook is going to get renewed at the end of this year. We're going to do like every 2 years, we'll renew it. So it'll be updated and you guys will get a new copy for the next grant year. So that's what's in the literature folder. We also have posters and flyers. In the flyers one, you'll find our general trifolds. This is going to get updated. I'm also going to I sent a link to Sue earlier this month or the end of last month that has our Canva links in it. Basically, if you got a free Canva account, you can open that link and copy the document and edit it. So this trifold that's in here, the general brochure, it's been updated already, but you'll be able to go in here and put your own contact information in it. This one is the old one. It's been updated, but you'll be able to go in and put your contact information in here. There's a school partnership one. So if there's ever a school that's like, oh man, we would really like YReads, you could give them this document. Generally, your supervisor will be sending them that document if they're looking to create another partnership. But that's in here. And then there's a general flyer in here about information on YReads as well, about increasing the funding. So all kinds of stuff in here. In addition to that, there are photos. We collect photos and videos. There's a really nice video of Collier, Michael Flowers from Collier. He did a article, or excuse me, a news type thing with Fix, was it, I think, or I can't remember the company, but anyway, there's a video of him talking to a news group about YReads. There's a kid in there talking about how much she loves YReads. So if you need any of that stuff, it's here. Photos, newsletter contents, event stuff, all of that fun stuff's in here. There's also collaborative resources. So there's samples and templates in here as well. Enrollment, so registration forms, lesson plan forms, file documents, file check documents, teacher introduction trainings. So if I have no idea what just happened. Are you guys still there with me? Okay, that was really weird. All right. What did I tell you about technology? All right, great. Sorry. That was weird. Like I was saying, the meetings and trainings that we've done over the years are also here. Those same ones that are on the YouTube channel, they're here. So these are the ones that I was talking about, that if your volunteers can't get access to it because they don't have access to the coordinator drive, they can they're also in here in the coordinator drive. All of the foundations trainings, the ones that we'll do this year will also end up in here. The kickoff that we're doing right now is being recorded. That'll end up in here. So all of those trainings can be found in there. Ounce link is in here. So pretty much anything that you'll need for YReads. The surveys in here for the year are there. Timeline's going to be in here. And as the year goes through, you'll get more documents in here for the program documents. Cool. So if you're looking for anything, you can find it in the coordinator's drive. If you can't find it, hit me up and I'll make sure you get it. But generally, I think that is the gist of our meeting today. Where did my thing go?
Ryan, I have a quick question.
Sure.
Do we have, remember last year we got a data summary, like a booklet of?
Yes. So
that
that's
it?
the third party evaluation that I was referring to. We do
Okay.
have the one from Ounce, the giant one. We just got it. So
Yeah.
it'll take a little minute for me to go in there and break it down into the individual sites. But the
Yeah.
ones from last year are in that folder, in the literature folder.
Okay.
But
Great.
the new ones, you'll get those emailed to you, and
Mm-hmm.
then they'll get dropped in that folder along with the other ones.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Any questions? I know this is a really long training. Any questions? Let me make sure there's nothing in the chat. Okay. All right. This is the start of a new era. I will tell you right now, all of this looks like a lot of information. Um, and I've been told sometimes that I can seem scary from afar. I'm a marshmallow, just so you know. But it's all love. I am a firm and loving person. So again, all this compliance stuff, some of it does seem scary. You'll get a site visit. It seems scary to have somebody visit you and evaluate and observe. It really does. But keep in mind that when I'm coming to do these things, I'm coming to support you. It's about you so you can serve these kids the way. It's about the kids too. So I want to come and help improve you. I want this program to continue to improve. Y-Rays is very dear to my heart. It's been my favorite place in the Y in my 16 years of working with the Y. So I'm here to do a great job for you, and I hope you guys are also here to do the same. So again, if you need anything from me, let me make sure my information is up. If you haven't already received a billion emails from me, my email address, my phone number is on here as well. You can take that and text me. Again, the easiest way to get me is through text. They're not text messages, through email, but you can definitely text me, drop a Zoom meeting, any of that fun stuff. My phone number's there, my email is there. Please reach out if you need anything. In the meantime, look out for those invites for those trainings. And thank you guys so much. I'm so excited to be back here with you guys again for another year. Can't wait to see you in person. Again, one of my favorite parts of the year. And happy learning, happy teaching. You'll be with the kids soon. You'll be with the kids soon. If you haven't already, let me know what your iReady status is, whether you're doing it or whether your school's doing it. And then I believe the deliverables request your start date. If you want to send that to me early, you can also send that to me as well. Thank you guys so much. Very nice seeing you again. Next time I'll see you will be on the 11th for the training, which I believe is next Tuesday. Yes? Okay, I'm going to send the invite out today. That way you guys have it. Thank you again so much. Love you guys. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.